Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about the medical coding manuals. What does each book mean? And when you are working with the workbooks that I recommend, which books do you use? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So, if you've been watching my channel for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that I did a review on the ICD-10-CM book already. I've done a review on the ICD-10-PCS book. That was from yesterday. And I've also done a review on the CPT manual. But I just kind of wanted to do a video where everything is kind of in one. And I'm telling you about what each book means, right? What each book is for. So, hopefully, this will clear up a few questions you may have. If you have any other questions about the manuals, you can feel free to leave them in the comments below. I use the ICD-10-CM expert for physicians. There is an ICD-10-CM expert for hospitals, and some people use that. The difference between expert for physicians and expert for hospitals is just the information that's included. So this book is geared towards physicians, as you may have figured out, and the other one is geared towards hospitals. Again, Optum in their books have a lot of really great information and a lot of really helpful notes. So it's going to be based on like the setting. So this is really good for physicians. The other one is good for hospitals. The thing about it is it's the same code set, okay? They're the same exact codes in that other book as in this book. So you can use either one. And both AHIMA and AAPC both approve of this book. So if you want to get this book, that is awesome. Because like I said, there's a lot of really great information in this book. But this is all of your diagnosis codes. So it doesn't matter where you're coding. If you're coding for an inpatient setting or an outpatient setting, this is the book that you will use every single time, because every single thing is going to have a diagnosis code. If it's going to have a diagnosis code for why the patient saw the doctor, or it needs a diagnosis code to go with a procedure to support why a doctor did a procedure, okay? So everybody will always have to use this book, okay? It is quite big, but like I said, it has every diagnosis code currently known to man. And if you want to check out the video I did about my review on this one, I will leave the link for that in the description box below, okay? So that way you guys can go into full depth. But for the sake of efficiency, I need to make sure that I stay on task. Diagnosis codes, okay? That's what's in this book. I'm going to put this one aside. Okay, and then without knocking everything over, this, of course, is the ICD-10-PCS manual. Now, this is the book that I reviewed last night, and it's a fantastic book. I love books, y'all. I really do. But this is the ICD-10-PCS Expert edition. This is the 2023, and you'll notice that this is the spiral-bound version. Whether you are sitting for an AHIMA exam or an AAPC exam, you can use this one that's a spiral bound. The one that's a flat edge, you cannot use. So when you're ordering your book, if you want to get this PCS book, I recommend making sure that you get the one that's the spiral bound. So that way you know you have the correct book. The reason that I love this book, of course, the best feature is in the back in Appendix M that gives you a whole list of all of the procedures that you can code. And then it also has the answers and the rationale as to why on some of them. So with this book, this is for ICD-10-PCS, is for procedures that are done in the facility, right? It's so that the facility can get paid for all of their equipment, all of their staffing, everything that the bandages, everything else, the room and board for the patient. That's why we have ICD-10-PCS, because that's the facility telling the insurance company, this is the procedure that was done in our house. Okay, so that's the reason that we have PCS. If you are taking the CPC or if you are taking the CCSP, you do not need this book. You will never need this book because this book is only for inpatient procedures only. Okay, this has to do with the hospital, like I said, hospital itself, and it's a completely different thing. So if you are taking, again, the CPC or the CCSP, you do not need this book. But if you want to challenge yourself after you've gotten your CPC or your CCSP and you want to go for that gold standard of medical coding credentials, that CCS, this is going to be the book that you want to study, because that's going to help you to understand. And plus, this is the book that you need to take that exam with. So obviously, if you're taking the test in 2023 or all the way up until the end of April 2024, you can use the 2023 edition, okay? But that's what this PCS is. The ICD-10-PCS is for inpatient procedures, all right? So that's that book. And then, this over here, we have the CPT book. So the CPT book, this is the current procedural terminology. This is a 2023 professional edition by the American Medical Association. Everybody, regardless if you are taking an AHIMA exam or an AAPC exam, everybody has to have this CPT book, this same CPT book, because this is the one and only approved CPT manual, okay? This houses all of your outpatient procedures. All the procedures that are done outpatient are in here, okay? Now, what is an outpatient procedure? Just the way that it sounds, outpatient. The patient is coming into the clinic and has a minor procedure done. That code is in here. This book ensures that the provider gets paid for their service, okay? There is no building of these codes. These codes are already built, as we see. There's the codes already made. It's not like the ICD-10-PCS where you have to go through the tables and you have to look up the different options that they have for that particular procedure. Those are customized based on the patient and the documentation, of course. With CPT, again, these are already done. They're already made. So you don't have to worry about any of those. And the great thing about this CPT book, and I've talked about this before, is that it has all of the modifiers here on the side, on the inside flap. Okay, so there's a lot of really helpful information throughout here. This book also houses your evaluation and management codes. So when you're doing anything for the provider or outpatient procedures, this is your book. Okay, so that's what you'll need. If you're taking the CCSP or the CPC, you need this book. You need this book, and then, of course, you need this book, and then, of course, you need the Higgs-Picks book that I don't have right now to show you. But you do need, for sure, these two books, okay? But just make sure you also have your Higgs-Picks book. Now, let me talk about so we're cool, right? Everybody gets it. I'm watching the time. All right. When it comes to the workbooks that you're working in, and the workbooks that I recommend that are always in the description box below, but yet I still have people asking me what books I recommend. They're in the description box. Now, the thing that I will say is this. I do recommend books, the workbooks that are a couple of years old. And the reason that I recommend books that are a little bit older is because, well, it's a few years now, but the reason that I recommend them is because they have the exact same questions as a current yearbook. And the current yearbook, of course, is going to be way higher, way more money, and I want to save y'all money. So even if you have a current yearbook like this, you can still use a workbook like this. Not all the codes have been updated. There have been some updates, right, to the code set. But it's not going to be every single thing in this book. This book still has plenty of valid codes in it. So even if you're working through some of these questions and things like that, and you're wondering, did I get the right answer? Because my answer doesn't match what the book says. If the book does not have that code in your book, then in your current book, that's when you know that, well, the code has been updated, or that other code has been deleted, or whatever. So that's how you know that the code has changed. But if you see your same code and your book has the same code, then you know if you got the answer right, well, you got the answer right. So, like I said, to save yourself a few bucks, you can get older yearbooks. This is a 2019. I don't recommend getting the 2019 anymore. I used to be able to find this book for $10, y'all. I cannot find this book for $10 no more. I can only find it for like 80 something dollars. It's $130. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? But I guess I did so well on the advertising of this book that all of a sudden you can't find it anywhere for cheap. And I'm all about getting y'all those really good deals because it's expensive enough to go to school, to be a medical coder, to maintain our knowledge. It's already expensive. We don't have to spend all of this money if we're still trying to learn. These questions are still valid questions based on, whatever it is that you're coding, right? So look at this. This is what I love about AAPC. And y'all, I'm not affiliated with AAPC in no way. They don't pay me. I'm not certified through them. But I don't have to be because they got this book right. They got this book right, and if it benefits coders, oh, you betcha. I am going to tell y'all about it because it's so important that this information gets shared as far as like these are really good materials. Because when you all start learning this stuff and you start picking it up, it's going to make you a better coder. It's going to make you more prepared for the real world, or even if you're already in the real world, it's going to make you even more prepared. And there's nothing better than that. There are so many people out there who get disillusioned and they get very frustrated and they feel lost because they don't understand. The best way to combat any kind of feeling of misunderstanding is to start studying in these books. So do yourself a favor, look up, the cheapest version that you can of this. Obviously, do not go back earlier than 2019, okay? If you go back any earlier than that, you're going to be running into a lot of things that are not going to be there. So get something 2021, 2022. That would be really good too. Okay. 2020 is even fine. Okay. Because again, they're all going to have the same kind of procedures. Now, you can look up these procedures. I bought this book used. That's why there's markings in it. I don't write in books. Y'all know that. But when you look at these notes, these are really good sized notes to practice on. Okay, so what you need to work with the CPC, and it doesn't matter if you're sitting for an AHEMA exam. So if you are sitting for the CCS, the CCA, or the CCSP, you can still use this. Why? Because we all code from the same CPT code set. We all do. So this is just AAPC published this. Like I said, they did it right. So if you are working with this book, then you are going to need this book and this book. These two books. That's what you're going to need for this workbook. You also need the Higgs-Pix book, y'all. But like I said, I don't have it. I'm going to order it. You know what? I'm going to order it today. Just, whatever. I try to stay away from Optum, y'all. Only because I really love books, and it's very difficult for me because I want to just go through there and order like a bunch of books, right, to do reviews and stuff, but try to be good. But yes, so you do need these two books. This is your procedures, and this is your diagnosis, and you need it for this book, okay? So for this book, these two. And your diagnosis codes are here in this one, CPT, and all of your like your procedures and your evaluation and management codes are all in here. Now, this book does go over evaluation and management, and keep in mind, evaluation and management changed, so I really wouldn't put too much stock into like the outpatient clinic E&M codes. I think they have them in here. So if they do, all right, just keep that in mind, okay? So that's for those two. That's for this book here. Now, if you are studying even for the CPC, okay? Because you still need it anyway, right? So let's put this here. So this book, let's just talk about this book for a second here. This is the American Hospital Association, Nellie Leon Chisholm. Again, you cannot find this book cheaper because I used to be able to find this book for $39. Forget it now. It's 150 something when I looked it up not too long ago. I'm like, really? It's 2019. Are you serious? So I was able to find 2021, 2022 a little bit cheaper. But you want to get this book with the answers. Do not get the one without the answers, because how are you going to know if you got the answers right or not? And this gives you plenty of rationale. This book is fantastic for learning diagnosis coding, because it says it right here, ICD-10-CM. And it's also really good for learning ICD-10-PCS. Now, if you are taking the CCSP or the CPC, the outpatient procedures, it's just as good to learn your diagnosis with. So you can skip over the PCS portion, okay? And just use it to exercise ICD-10-CM. Because I'll tell you what, in the back, look at this. Isn't this fantastic? They have procedures, well, inpatient procedures, these little scenarios, but they also have some that are just diagnosis coding. So if you want to, you can use this to practice just looking up but diagnosis codes, okay? So you use this and it'll give you the answers. What I recommend is covering up this side, and then you work here, and then you check your answers, okay? So if you are taking the CPC or the CCSP, again, cover up the PCS, skip the PCS part, but concentrate on the diagnosis part. And there's plenty of really great exercises throughout this book. I'm trying to find where I can give. Oh, see, look at that. Look at that. So it talks about, let me bring it up a little bit so that way you can see. You guys can see. So you see the diagnosis codes there. And then, of course, you see the inpatient procedures there. You don't have to do those if you're just practicing with the diagnosis part, right? Just to get to practicing, just look at those and just do the diagnosis part. It's a wonderful practice. This book is superior. And I use this word very carefully because I love books, y'all. And when it comes to what books are really good for medical coders, this book is superior to any other book for learning medical coding. Okay? So this is beginner to intermediate level practice. This is an excellent resource, an excellent book. And this is the one that I recommend that y'all learn medical coding on. Okay? So you need for this book, if you're doing the CCS or the CCA or even the CIC, right? CIC is a certified inpatient coder, and that's a credential with AAPC. If you already have the CCS or the CCA, you do not need the CIC, okay? You don't need it because then you're doubling up. But for this book, then you need these two books. And it tells you right on the front which two books you need, okay? But if you're just using it to code for the diagnosis part, then you just only need to code with this book, okay? So hopefully, how much time have I used? Oh, okay. I'm so good on time. Hopefully that answers those questions, right? Again, I will leave the links for where I officially was like going over and opening up and showing you, what all you need in those books and how to study from them. But that's essentially it. I mean, when it comes to studying medical coding, yeah, this is a lot of books. It's a lot of books and it's a lot to go through. And again, if you're studying for the CCS, you also need this book. You need to practice on your outpatient procedures, the CCS and the CCA, okay? You need to work on your outpatient procedures, and that's the book that you need, okay? So you need both of these if you are doing, the CCS and the CCA. And again, if you are taking the CPC or the CCSP, you still need both of these because this covers the diagnosis coding, okay? But for my CCS and CCA folks, it's covering everything that you need. Outpatient coding and diagnosis and inpatient coding, okay? So these are all the books you need. I love books. Look at that. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. But yeah, Those are your books. Those are the ones I highly recommend. And if you're looking in the description box and you see that I have still, because I've tried to update all of the links, but guys, I have over 900, over 1,000 videos now. It's a little difficult, but I'd still try. So I tried to update the links, and I still get folks asking me, well, it's 2023 and this video was out since 2021. Do you still recommend those books, or where's the link for the new books? It's just as easy as Googling for the current year books. That's all it is, guys. That's it. And when you Google, you'll see that particular same version, right? But just a newer version. So you can totally do that. So that way it can help you to get the latest and greatest. But like I said, I've tried my best to make sure that all of the links are updated for you all. But if you are watching a video that's a couple of years old, I mean, I do have shows out 4 nights a week. So there's plenty of new stuff too. So hopefully, again, like I said, this helped you to know which book means what. Again, evaluation and management and outpatient procedures. There's also modifiers in this book. All right. This is for inpatient procedures. There are no modifiers in this book. And this is all of your diagnosis codes. Okay. So all of your diagnosis codes are in here. And doesn't matter the setting, you're always going to use it same. Okay. The same book. Okay. The ICD-10-CM. And one more thing. When it comes to the CPT manual, there's, like I said, there's modifiers in here, but it also has the evaluation and management codes. There's professional fee evaluation and management codes in here. So if you are coding for pro fee, this is the book that you need, because this is ensuring that the provider is getting paid for their service. So this is pro fee. You need this book, and you need this book. And then of course you need the HCPCS book. And the HCPCS book can be used whether you are coding for the inpatient side or the outpatient side. Okay, so that's just another thing you ought to know. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the questions or the comments below. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.